Studies show that 80% of Americans are in debt with an average debt load of 93,000. This, of course, includes credit card debt, mortgages, student loans, and other debt, such as auto and home equity, etc. But there is hope. Millions have paid off their debt, and I hope the tips that I'm sharing today is going to help you pay off your debt. Hello and welcome back to Seb Talks Money. This is a place where we talk all things money and share tools and tips to help us get out of debt and get to financial freedom. So again, I am going to be sharing some tips to help us get debt free. And I'm going to also share a few tips to help us avoid getting into debt. Let me give a warning. Before I dive into the content, I want to be honest with you. If you are not ready to make tough decisions about your debt, this session might not benefit you. There are people who think that they're going to die with their debt. They're making no extra effort to get rid of debt. They think debt is a way of life. And if you're one of those, this might not benefit you. But I would still like for you to stick around because something I say may change your mind. Because if you're like me, you do not want to live under that burden of debt. And let me also remind you that I am available. You can work with me directly if you are wanting to restructure your debt, if you are wanting to look at how you can set up your debt so you can pay it down faster, if you are wanting to look at your student loans and see how can I set it up so that I don't have accumulated interest. I'm paying, but my interest is growing. If you want to set up your debt that way, your student loans that way, I am available to work with you. You can go to my website at sebtalksmoney.com, sebtalksmoney.com, book an appointment with me, and we can go from there. So let me dive right into the content. Now, these are going to be practical things. They're not earth-shattering. They might be things that you may have heard already. The first thing I want you to consider when you are thinking of getting out of debt is your mindset. Yes, mindset. Unless we change the way we look at things, things will not change. And while you're looking at mindset and seeing, well, how can I look at my debt differently? Be prepared for those voices that are going to say, you don't make enough. You can't pay down this debt. You're going to die with this debt. Look at that person enjoying life and you can't enjoy life. You're going to hear all kinds of voices, but you have to keep your why in mind. And that's my second point. What is your why? Motivation is fleeting. Dedication lasts. What that means is you may get excited and think, this person was in the same situation that I was in, and they were able to pay off their debt. I'm going to get motivated. I'm excited. I'm going to pay off my debt. But if you don't have a particular why, if you don't have a reason to drive your dedication and your motivation, you might give up. What is your why to get rid of debt? Don't let it be, well, I just want to get out of debt. Because if that is your why, chances are you are going to give up before the end of the journey. So you need to make sure you have a why. I have two whys. One of my first why is my 85-year-old self. Longevity is on both sides of my family. So I have accepted that I am going to live a long life. And so I want to make sure my 85-year-old self is not struggling with student loan debt, is not struggling with credit card debt, is not struggling with auto loan debt or any of those kinds of debt, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. I want to make sure my 85-year-old self is not struggling with those things. My second why is my daughter. I want to make sure that my daughter is not going to start over when she gets to her majority. A lot of us, every generation in our family starts over. And particular African Americans and women and people of color, we are behind the 8 ball. And the reason we're behind the 8 ball is because women on average is paid less than men. That's something we have a strike going against us. The second thing is people of color are usually paid less than whites. women and white men. They're usually paid less. That's a fact. This is not nothing else but a fact. So for people of color, if you're listening to me right now, women, if you're listening to me right now, that is something that is a strike against you. So you have to make sure that you are dedicated about paying off your debt and not having your kids start over. Give them a leg up. And a way to do that is to make sure you pay your debt off. Because think about it. If you have a credit card that's 16% and you are paying on that and you have balances on that credit card, if you pay that off, you've automatically given yourself a 16% raise. Think about that. You've given yourself a 16% raise. So why drag that credit card around? There are myriads of things we can do as side hustle to make money to help us pay down our debt. All right, the third point I want to make is make a list of what you owe. I counseled someone and she did not want to know what she owed. She's like, I don't want to look at it. I don't want to know. Well, do you prefer for the creditors to keep calling you and you dodge them? Or do you want to know what you owe, listing your amounts, your interest rates, your due dates, your minimum payments, listing those so that you can be strategic about how you attack those debts? Do you want to do that? Or do you want to keep running from the credit card company and the debtors and be stressed every day? Once you write it down, write the vision, make it plain so that you can run with it. Write a list of your debt amounts, interest rates, due dates, minimum payments. That will help you to do the next step, which is prioritize the debt. And what I mean by prioritizing the debt, it's you determine what you pay and who you pay. What you pay, that means you are going to say, I am going to pay my mortgage, but I am not going to worry about my credit cards. Credit cards take the bottom of the barrel when it comes to payment. Okay? Things that are statutory debt, such as maybe somebody took you to court to pay, that has to take priority, because if you don't pay that, they're going to probably garnish your wages. So you want to make sure you have a roof over your head, possibly transportation to get you where you need to go. So that's going to determine what you pay. You're going to write all your debt, and once you do that, you prioritize it based on who needs to be paid. Some people, you just can't pay them right now, and they're going to have to be at the bottom of the list. And pride has no place in paying off debt. Listen, if you need to say, hey, can I live with you for 6 months to a relative? Or maybe bring a relative into your house to live with you for 6 months to help you get on your feet? That's what you need to do. Because the bottom line is we are trying to get out of debt, and whatever we need to do legally to get out of debt, we need to do that. Pride has no place in paying off debt. So we're going to, first of all, look at our mindset around debt. Do we think we're going to live with debt forever? Or do you think you can pay it off? Because history suggests you can. What is your why? Get a why in place, because that's going to help you keep dedicated to paying off your debt. Make a list of what you owe. And once you make that list, prioritize the debt. Now, here is my fifth point. Have a debt payoff goal. Start small. Do you want to pay off this credit card debt in 5 years? Do you want to pay it off in 3 years? Because you have a goal, you have a plan, you can go into the description of this video, grab one of those calculators that's in the video, and it will help you to structure your debt so you can say, I want to pay off this credit card in 5 years, and I'm going to use 2% of my paycheck to pay this debt. However you want to structure that. But you can make a list as long as you want to, but if you don't prioritize and if you don't have a goal, if you don't have a plan, then it's not going to come to fruition. Start small. Even if you want to say, I'm going to pay an extra $5 on this loan. I'm going to pay an extra $5 on this mortgage. I'm going to pay an extra $5 on this credit card, whatever it is. Start small. Don't be intimidated by people who paid off $100,000 in 2 years and $200,000 in 18 months. Don't be intimidated by those stories, because a lot of times you don't know the behind the scenes. They're not sharing all the details, because sometimes they may live with their parents while they do that. Sometimes they may be making, a big salary, whereas you might not be. So you cannot compare. Comparison is a thief of joy, and we're not going to compare in our debt freedom journey. All right. So number 6 is create a budget. Create a financial statement. In creating a budget, it doesn't have to be elaborate. And I know people hate the budget word, but based on creating a budget, what you're doing is you are taking control of your money and it's not controlling you. You are saying, this is what comes in, this is what goes out. I know how I can structure that to make sure I can pay my bills. You must have a handle on what is going out and what is coming in order to pay down debt. Bottom line. Now, I have a video on net worth, and I have a couple of videos on budget that I have also linked in this video that will help you understand how to create those financial statements. You want to create a financial statement, cash flow, what's going in, what's coming out, because that's going to help you see, do I need to cut back anywhere? What do I need to do? Do I need to accelerate my payment? What do I need to do to be able to pay off my debt? And for student loans, again, I'm able right now with my student loans to not have interest accumulated on top of interest. And I have several videos on student loans, but I want to say this point. For student loans, I am able to structure my student loans in such a way that those people are not going to get interest on top of interest from me. When I was in school, I didn't understand how it worked. So all that interest accumulated, and when it was time for me to pay, I now had a new principal because the interest added and became my new principal. Once I realized that that's how it worked, I structured my student loans in 2 ways. And because of that, I don't have any accumulated interest on my student loans. Again, if you want to work with me to take care of your student loans, go to savtalksmoney.com, my website, and set up an appointment, and I can help you structure your student loans. Point number 7 is get an accountability partner. I can serve as your accountability partner. If you make an appointment with me, I will follow up with you and make sure you're on track to get your debt paid off. Point number 8 is say no. As simple as that. Say no. Listen, I would love to go with you on that trip, but right now I cannot. You don't have to tell them why. You don't have to tell them you're targeting student loans. You don't have to tell them you're targeting debt that you're behind on. You don't have to tell them any of that. It's none of their business unless they're paying your bills. Hello? So you say, no, I can't go out to eat with you this month because you have a special plan this month. This month, these next 3 months, you're targeting paying down that credit card. So say no, as simple as that, because you have a goal and you do not want the pressure of every month wondering, am I going to be able to pay this bill? Because you're going to set a target. You're going to be intense about paying down those student loans or those debts. You're going to be intense about paying it off as soon as possible. And you're going to focus 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is, you're going to focus and you're going to give up some things in the meantime. As I said before, if you're not ready to pay down your debt, if you're not ready to go to war on debt, debt is robbing us of our peace of mind. It's robbing us of joy. It's robbing us of building families. It's robbing us of a lot of things. So if you are not ready, if you and I are not ready to be intense about paying down our debt, getting this monkey off of our back, then we can say yes all day. But for me, I have no problem saying no because I have a goal in mind. My 85-year-old self is going to be happy. I'm going to be laying on the beach with my flabby skin, my wrinkles all over. I'm going to be laying on the beach somewhere enjoying myself because I was willing to live my life comfortable now, but still make sacrifices to pay down my debt. And the last point I want to make when it comes to getting out of debt is if you are behind, call your creditors. Don't be afraid to call them. Mortgage companies will work with you. They are not in the business of buying houses to sell. They are in the business of loaning out money, collecting it, and making money off the interest. Call them. Maybe they'll put the payments on the backside of the mortgage, whatever. Call your credit card companies. Call your creditors. If you ignore those statements, if you ignore those letters, what may happen is they'll take you to court. And once they take you to court and they get a judgment against you because you didn't show up, You didn't show up. And if you didn't show up, if they can prove that they've contacted you several times and you ignored it and you didn't show up, they can get a judgment against you because you didn't show up. They send you a notice to say you need to show up in court on January 5th, and you decide you're not going to go because you're scared, and then they can get a judgment against you. So you got to be careful about that. All right. Those are the 9 tips I wanted to share on getting out of debt. Now I want to share about 4 tips on how to avoid debt. One of the ways you avoid debt is to build an emergency fund. That's something you've probably heard a lot of people talk about. Building an emergency fund creates a cushion. Many people, if they had emergency fund, they would not stress out when they lost their job during COVID. Let's be real, because they had that cushion to say, you know what, it gives me breathing room to be able to find something else, whether it's another job or maybe some side hustle or something. It gives me breathing room to do that. If I have an emergency fund and my car breaks down, as much as I hate spending that money, I have that. So I don't have to use my credit card. And if I do use my credit card, I have the cash to pay for it. So, but that's what an emergency fund does. It gives you breathing room. It gives you a respite when the world comes crashing down. Budget again. A budget helps you get out of debt, but it also helps you avoid debt because you're going to clearly specify what your needs are, what your necessities are, what your wants are. Needs, necessities, and wants are not the same thing. I need to have a roof over my head. I do not need a BMW. A car is a necessity, maybe if you have to pick up your kids from daycare, if you have to get to work, if you live far away from your work, it may be a necessity. It's not necessarily a need, it's a necessity. And because maybe you can take the bus, maybe you can take Uber. So you have to clearly define what your needs are. A need is something that if you don't meet it, it's going to cause catastrophic results in your life. Wants, do I need to go shopping every month? I have not gone shopping for clothes in nearly 2 years, and I'm perfectly fine recycling my clothes. Maybe that's not you. Well, consider going to maybe a consignment shop. So again, how to avoid that? Build an emergency fund. Budget. Don't use credit cards unless you have the cash. Be strategic about your purchases. Now, there's some things I want to tell you that you need to avoid when you're in debt because there are predators looking for prey when you're in debt. There are predators looking for prey, okay? So some of the things you want to avoid are credit repair companies that promise to clean up your credit. Listen, a lot of them are going to take your money and they are going to promise you the world and they are not going to be able to deliver. And the reason they might not be able to deliver is if you owe the debt and it can be proven that you owe the debt, even if it comes off your credit report and if it's within the statute of your state, because every state has different statutes for different type of debt, if it's within the statute of your state, you're going to have to pay it. Okay, so be very wary of credit repair companies that promise that they're going to clean up your debt and they're going to take the stuff off your credit, especially the ones that promise student loan debt relief. Listen, it is very, 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 very rare that your student loan will be forgiven. Extremely rare. So again, even if they promise to get the student loan off your credit and they get it off, doesn't mean you don't owe it. And a lot of people have that misconception. Just because something is off of your credit doesn't mean you don't owe it. If it's within the statute, based on the type of debt, and it's provable that it's yours, you may still owe it. So be very wary of companies that promise debt elimination. They're going to eliminate your debt because what they're doing is they're getting a big fee from you. They're going to say they're going to eliminate your debt. The debt may come off and you get excited because you pay them that money. And then a year later or a few months later, it's back on your credit report. Guess what? You pay them that money for nothing because I'm telling you that there are tools that you can use. And if you work with me, I can give you to help you with those tools. And that will help you to eliminate your debt on your own. It will help you clean up your credit report on your own. You do not need to pay somebody to do credit repair. You do not need to pay somebody to do debt elimination. If you want to pay somebody like me to help you get your things together, help you figure out what you need to do, then that's different. Because I cannot promise you, I will not promise you to eliminate your debt. I will not promise you to clear your credit. Because if you owe it, I am not going to tell you to do that because that's unethical, first of all. And if you're going to want to do anything unethical, I'm not the person to work with. All right. The next thing I want to talk to you about, to be very careful about doing, is selling or giving away your collateral. If you're getting behind on your car, be very careful about selling it because it could be constituted as fraud. You have to be very careful about how you give away assets that belong to the bank because you're behind. Because you can end up committing fraud. It can be considered fraud depending on how you do that. So I hope these tips have been helpful for you. And again, I have linked in this video 3 videos, 1 on net worth and how to calculate that, 2 on budgets and how to calculate the zero-based budget, and then also just a general overview on budgets. And again, I am available to work with you at SevTalksMoney.com. Go on our website and you'll see a button that says work with me, or you can click in the description of this video and you will see a section that says work with me. Click on that button, make an appointment with me, and I can help you get your money together. I promise you that once you have a clear picture of lay out your debt and have a clear picture of what you need to do, it relieves your mind. You may not have paid the debt, but once you have a plan in place, it's going to help you relieve some of that burden because now you know how to attack your debt because you have a plan in place. All right, so let me check the comments and see if we have any questions here. Okay, Beverly Harper is saying hi everyone. Inspirational by Marie is saying hello host. Amsab Kitchen, hi everyone. Stephanie's Journey is saying me too girl. I'm not sure what it was that I said. And Inspirational by Marie said yes. And in Stephanie's Journey saying it's illegal in Georgia. Yes, it is. It is illegal. Credit repair services is illegal in Georgia. I had somebody on the neighborhood website arguing with me, and I gave her the rules. I said it is illegal to do credit repair in Georgia. What you can do is work with someone in Georgia. It's illegal except if you are a lawyer, if you're a real estate agent, and there's a third one, I can't remember what it is. And that's why I tell people, I'm not going to repair your credit, but I am allowed to work with you, help you structure your debt, show you how you can repair your credit yourself. But I personally cannot do that because it's illegal in Georgia for me to do that. But I can help you and I can give you the tools that you can do it yourself. And Amsab Kitchen is saying, thanks for the tips. Great to know. Very, very helpful. Okay, so I want to shout out Inspirational by Marie. If you have not followed her on her channel, she does a lot of inspirational things. She talks to people about things they've gone through from a Christian perspective. Please go follow her. Amsab Kitchen, awesome recipes and cooking channel. So please go follow them, a husband and wife team. And Stephanie's Journey, she does a lot of things with vegan, and she also do unboxing of vegetarian type things. So please go follow her on her channel. And I think that's it. Those are the only 3 people that have channels. And I also want to thank Sid from Miami and Beverly Harper for always supporting me. So again, if anyone has any questions, please put the questions in the comment or send me an email. You can also send me an email at Severin@SevTalksMoney, and I am willing to work with you to get your money together. It is a great feeling when you know that you don't have debt collectors breathing down your neck. It's an awesome feeling, not because you don't owe debt, but because you have a plan in place and you've structured it such that you can talk with them intelligently and get them off your back. And I'm going to also share at a later date, I'm going to be talking about things that you can do to get debt collectors to stop calling you, things you can do to get debt collectors to stop sending you letters and forget about the debt, because if they can't prove it, some debt collectors buy debt in bulk And when they buy the debt in bulk, they know it's your debt because they have your name and your contact information, but they don't have the details. And if they don't have the details, they can't prove it's your debt, they have to get rid of it. Okay, because they have to stop contacting you. So we're going to be talking some more about debt in later videos. But for now, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again next Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. In fact, you'll see me on Friday. Friday is when I'm going to be doing our monthly savings channel update, challenge update. I'll be doing that on Friday. So I'll see you on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Other than that, I'll see you on Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you have any topics that you want me to cover at a future date, please let me know. Put it in the comments. Send me an email, Sabrina@SavTalksMoney.com. Any topics that you want to cover. If I don't have the depth of knowledge, I will bring someone on who will talk to that, because the bottom line for this channel is to help people get debt free. And whatever it takes to do that legally, and ethically, we're going to do that. Thank you. And I will see you next Sunday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time.